Hello pilots and welcome to Motion RC. Today is an exciting day. We all know how much you guys love the 90mm and 64mm F-22s that are available from Freewing models here today. But something fun happened and Freewing has decided to bring a 70mm to kind of complement those sizes in the F-22 since it's so popular. So, really cool little airplane. This one still has retracts, flaps, everything you want out of a larger model, but in the price point of a smaller one. So, really cool airplane. We're gonna get it out of the box today, check it out. So without further ado, let's slide this cover off and let's get to unboxing. All right, pilots, it's time to actually get our F-22 assembled now that we have everything out of the box and the packaging, and we've checked over the model. So, at this point, the part we're gonna start with is putting our elevator halves on. Now, what you will notice is these are full flying stabs, which means the entire control surface moves instead of just a portion of it. A lot of other conventional aircraft in the past have always used the little piece in the back that just moves. That's actually your elevator, whereas this thing, the whole stabilizer is going to turn. So you're going to see that the metal spars are already in the aircraft for these to go on. You're going to slide on your elevator half. Then once it's on, you're going to take one of the 4 screws that comes in this kit. They are all the same. They're a 2mm Allen screw. And you are going to thread those down, and there's an actual channel piece inside of the metal spar where the screw is going to go down inside of and tighten up against. Now, you don't want this so tight that it can't move. You want that just tight enough to where you know it's down in there, but not touching and dragging. All right, now that you have your elevator stabs actually affixed to the model, what I'm going to do now is just snap on the ball links. Now, we may need to adjust this once we fire up the airplane for the first time to make our centering point. But for now, I'm going to put them on there just to keep these from flapping around. The wire goes into the outside hole on the control arm and then snaps on to the ball link. All right, now that you have those elevators snapped on, that's just going to keep them from flapping around until we get the radio setup done, and then we can actually fine-tune those. Next thing to get installed is our vertical stabilizers, or the rudders of this aircraft. What you're going to notice is it does have 2 receiving points from the bottom into plastic, and then you also have your servo leads. First thing we need to do is go on and plug in our servo lead to the wire that's embedded into the aircraft. It's going to be yellow to yellow on both of these. Make sure you line those up. If you get them backwards, one of them is not going to work. So you want to really be careful that you make sure that those wires are the correct direction right now. Once you've done that, you're going to key down the rudders into the fuselage, being careful that you don't pinch any of the wires underneath it. If you get these right, they should just fall in there real easily. If you're having to force and push, something's probably under it binding it up. Once you have those all the way down, you're going to take 2 of those countersunk screws with the 2mm Allen head, and you're going to put them in from the bottom of the aircraft to actually affix the vertical stabilizers to your aircraft. All right, now that you have your horizontal and vertical stabilizers installed on your F-22, the next step is going to be getting the wings on. Cool thing with this is our first 70mm that's actually using the Fast Connect wings. This shares the same push button design as the Zeus for the wings, and then you have the 1 cable going out to the wings to make your aileron and your flaps work. So really a slick design that's going to make it super easy to take the wings on and off if you're needing to take them apart to get it to the field. Now, this smaller aircraft, not all customers are going to need that function, but guys that drive smaller cars, this is nice. You can fit this in the back seat of like a Honda Civic now. Just snap these wings off super easy. So let's get these installed real quick and show you how they work. All right, now the last thing as far as assembling any parts goes is we need to get our nose cone on. It's as simple as just sliding it on. It is plastic cladded, just so you know, if you're going to stand this up on its nose or anything, that is going to be protected. But it just keys in here at the front, and then 2 magnets hold it onto the aircraft just like so. And that gets the assembly of this aircraft done. At this point, we need to open up our battery hatch, which is right here on top. We need to get our receiver installed in the aircraft. Now, you can use any type of receiver you choose, but we do have our Lemon RXs here. We have our Futabas. A lot of different choices for you to run inside your aircraft if you so choose so. So I'm going to go on and get everything hooked up, and then we're going to meet back here in just a second. All right, pilots, so at this point, all I did was go on ahead and install my receiver into the aircraft. Now, we get this question a lot. It takes 7 channels to take advantage of all of the features of this aircraft if you want to use thrust reversing. I actually only had a 6 channel on me today, so what I've done is just don't plug in the thrust reversing ESC function, and you can still use all the other normal models features. We flew them for years without any kind of brakes or anything. It's a nice feature to have, but in this situation, I'm going to skip it for me today. So if you only have 6 channels, you can do the same, and you can still take advantage of flaps, ailerons, rudders, elevators, and your gear. Now that we have the aircraft actually powered on, I've also verified up is up, down is down, left is left. It's pretty standard stuff for any of these aircraft if you're getting into them. What we actually need to do now is set our elevators. So if you have a flight stand, I highly recommend picking up one whenever you're getting your airplane. If you don't, we have the Ernst manufacturing stands, we have our Benchcraft stands, we have lots of options to choose from, but that allows you to put the aircraft upside down like this when you're working on it. So now that we've done that, what we actually need to do is go back here on the aft section of the aircraft and pop our ball links back off that we snapped on earlier. If you left yours off until this point, it'll just be that little bit easier. But if not, like you did me, I did this so that it would be easier to manipulate the airplane until we were ready to do this. So what we need to do is measure 6 millimeters down from the top of the leading edge of the firewall to where the actual elevator is going to go. Now, you may find this is easier to measure with the wing off. No problem doing that. You can just snap them on and off really easily. Once you've measured that, make you a little dot, and you're going to line the front leading edge of your elevator up to that dot. And you're going to mechanically screw in or out until you can hit that spot. Once you do that, snap those in, and you will be fully assembled. All right, now that you have your tail all set up, let's go ahead and check the landing gear. Now, I already have mine out. I did it during the setup process, but at this point, it's a good time to flip them out if you haven't already and make sure they work. What you're going to see is your gear are going to come out, and then you have a sequence door up here on the front. So gear in, and then sequence doors that are going to close up and clean up the bottom of the aircraft very nicely. We can flip them back out, and there they are. Then we can take our stand and move it out of the way and show you the aircraft actually setting on its wheels. So there you go. And it does have good suspension on it, as you can see. You have your nose suspension and then your main suspension. Really a well thought out airplane, guys. If you're going to set up reverse thrust, we do have a video just on doing that if you're curious of how it works, but the gist of it is put it on any 2-position switch. If you fire up your airplane and it's driving backwards, just go on and reverse that channel that you plugged it into, and that will make the motor go the other direction. An ESC calibration is also always a great thing to do. Super easy. You just unplug the battery, set your transmitter to full throttle, plug the battery in, listen for the beeps from the receiver. Once you hear them, pull it back down to 0 throttle. As always, when you're doing that, try and have somebody hold the aircraft if you can, just in case it were to decide to run, it doesn't fly across the room. Once you have all that set up, go on and get you a throttle cut. Your dual rates and expo are gone over in the manual, so make sure you set it up and follow it by that, as I will for our first flights. And your CG marks are actually embossed onto the wing. We always recommend you start from those CG marks on the wing. It's a great, comfortable place to fly the airplane, and then experiment with shifting it around if you choose to. If you feel like you need it a little more tail heavy, just slide that battery back on additional flights going forward. Well guys, this is the new F-22. It's a really beautiful little airplane that really fills in the line nicely. And I know a lot of guys are going to be super happy about this one because I know a lot of guys' favorite airplane in the Freewing lineup is the 90mm F-22. And this will make it a little more of a convenience for some of the guys to get into this aircraft without having to spend quite as much money as the 90mm. Anyway, guys, it's been a lot of fun putting this one together. I can't wait to get it out to the field so you guys get to see it fly. And as always, whether it's air, land, or sea, you can get it right here at Motion RC. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.